Something in your life is changing. Maybe you can feel it, maybe you can't explain it, but deep inside, you know. You are not in the same season anymore. There's a quiet shift happening around you. A rearranging, a repositioning, a divine movement. That doesn't look dramatic on the outside, but is shaking everything in the spiritual realm. You've been waiting for so long. Waiting for answers. Waiting for a breakthrough. Waiting for that one moment when everything makes sense. And maybe you've wondered, God, when will it be my turn? When will things finally change for me? But here's the truth you didn't know. The breakthrough didn't start when you saw results. It started the moment God whispered your name in heaven. Right now, even as you listen. Angles are moving. Doors are unlocking. People are being positioned. Opportunities are shifting in your direction. This is not normal change. This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is God preparing a sudden breakthrough in your life. The kind of breakthrough that doesn't take months. Doesn't take years. But happens out of nowhere. The kind where you wake up one morning. And everything looks the same. But by sunset, your entire life has shifted. The kind where God says, you've struggled long enough. You've cried long enough. You've waited long enough. Now watch what I can do, and watch how fast I can do it. This is your moment. This is your turning point. This is the season when God says, what took years, I will now do in days. You're not stepping into a breakthrough. You're stepping into a sudden breakthrough. A supernatural acceleration. A divine speed that makes no sense to the world. Because it's not the world doing it. It's God. And He has already begun. You may not see it yet. But God is quietly rearranging your entire life behind the scenes. Right now, in places you've never been. In conversations you will never hear. In decisions you don't even know are being made. Your name is being positioned for favor. You think nothing is happening. But heaven has been busy. Some people were removed from your life. Not because you failed. But because their presence would block your breakthrough. Some opportunities didn't work out. Not because they weren't good. But because God has something better that requires space. Some seasons felt empty. Not because God forgot you. But because He was clearing distractions. So He could move you faster. When God prepares a sudden breakthrough, He doesn't start by adding. He starts by subtracting. He removes wrong people, wrong paths, wrong environments. Not to punish you, but to protect the blessing that is coming. And here's something you need to understand deeply. God will never let the wrong people witness the right blessing. So yes, some people had to leave. Some doors had to close. Some connections had to fall apart. Because what God is about to do for you is too big, too holy, too sudden to happen in front of everyone. He is preparing the exact place where your breakthrough will land suddenly. The exact moment. The exact opportunity. The exact divine alignment. Every delay was preparation. Every setback was positioning. Every lonely season was training your spirit to receive something greater than what you were praying for. And soon, very soon, you'll look back and say, now I understand why it didn't work out. Now I see why they walked away. Now I know why I had to wait. God was building something better behind the scenes. Because the truth is this. Before God accelerates you, He arranges you. And that's exactly what's happening in your life right now. Right before a sudden breakthrough. There is always pressure. Not small pressure. Not normal stress. But a heavy, spiritual pressure. That feels like everything is getting harder. Instead of easier. And maybe that's exactly where you are right now. You feel stretched. You feel tired. You feel like you're pushing with everything you have. And still nothing is moving. Doors are half open, but not fully open. Opportunities come close, but slip away. People encourage you, then disappoint you. Your heart hopes, then gets hurt again. It's confusing. It's exhausting. It's discouraging. But listen to me carefully. This pressure is not a sign that God is late. It's a sign that God is close. Every time God prepares a sudden shift, the kind that changes everything, the weight increases. Why? Because pressure squeezes out the wrong things and strengthens the right ones. Pressure produces clarity on who belongs in your next season. Pressure exposes what is real and what is temporary. Pressure forces you to lean on God instead of your own understanding. And sometimes, God allows pressure because He is lining up your blessing with perfect timing. You're not failing. You're transitioning. You're not stuck. You're stretching. And just like a slingshot, the more life pulls you back, the farther God is about to launch you forward. Think about it. A woman feels the greatest pain right before giving birth. A seed breaks under pressure right before the plant emerges. A night becomes darkest right before sunrise. Pressure is heaven's announcement that something is about to break open. So if life feels heavy, don't collapse, prepare. If things feel intense, don't fear, lean deeper into God. If things feel overwhelming, don't quit, you are closer than you think. Because the attack is always strongest right before the blessing. The enemy fights hardest when he knows what God is about to release. And you may not see it, but your spirit can feel it. A shift. There are seasons when everything feels slow, painfully slow. You pray, and nothing changes. You work hard, and see little results. You wait, and wait, and wait. It feels like life is moving for everyone else, while you're stuck in the same place. But hear this carefully. When God brings breakthrough, He makes up for every year of delay, in a moment. And maybe you've noticed something recently. Things that used to take forever are suddenly moving faster. People who ignored you are now reaching out. Opportunities that once avoided you are now coming back around. Doors that were locked are beginning to loosen. That's not coincidence. That's timing. That's alignment. That's God shifting the season. Because when God decides, now is the moment, everything accelerates. Remember Joseph? He spent years in prison, forgotten. But in one single day, God lifted him from a prison cell and placed him in the palace. Remember Job? He lost everything. But in a single season, God restored double. Remember the woman with the issue of blood? 12 years of suffering. Yet one touch changed everything. God does not need time. He needs timing. And when timing hits, your life can transform faster than you imagine. Breakthrough does not follow human logic. It does not wait for the right circumstances. It does not require permission. When heaven says, move, earth adjusts. And right now, your life is shifting into a season of speed. The things that were delayed are being released. The blessings that were held back are being pushed forward. The prayers that felt unanswered are suddenly gaining momentum. You will go from overlooked to chosen, from waiting to receiving, from preparing to walking into what God promised. And here's the part people miss. Everything that felt slow was actually preparation. For the moment God accelerates you, you weren't being punished. You were being positioned. You weren't being ignored. You were being prepared. Delay is not denial. It's alignment. Every quiet season, every lonely night, every prayer you whispered, every tear you cried, all of it was training your spirit for what God is about to release. And now, the pace is changing. What took years will begin happening in days. What felt impossible will suddenly feel natural. What once required force will now flow with grace. This is the moment where the story turns, where the pace increases, where God proves He has not forgotten you. So get ready, because this is not normal movement. This is divine acceleration. And when God accelerates you, nobody can slow you down. Not fear. Not failure. Not people. Not circumstances. You're stepping into a season where heaven moves faster than earth can explain. And it all begins now. There comes a moment in every believer's journey when God doesn't just answer one prayer. He answers many, all at once. It feels like the sky opens. It feels like everything starts happening at the same time. It feels overwhelming, but in the best possible way. And maybe you're closer to that moment than you realize. You see, God doesn't do small upgrades. When He moves like a flood. One blessing doesn't come alone. It pulls others with it. The same way one raindrop announces the arrival of a storm. One small change in your life can signal the beginning of a breakthrough wave. Think about it. You get one unexpected message, and it opens the door to a new opportunity. You meet one right person, and suddenly your entire path changes. You make one act of obedience, and God multiplies it in ways you didn't expect. This is how God works. Breakthrough doesn't trickle. It pours. But here's the part people miss. Before the flood comes, God often clears your path. He removes people who were blocking your progress. He closes doors that were not meant for you. He slows everything down so the next season can move faster. And you don't always understand it in the moment. You feel frustrated, confused, sometimes even abandoned. But heaven knows exactly what it's doing. God is not trying to hurt you. He's setting you up for overflow. Let me tell you something real. Every time God removes something, He is preparing to replace it with something far greater. And when that replacement comes, it arrives suddenly. You wake up one day and realize the heaviness is gone. The anxiety you carried for years is finally lifted. The closed doors don't bother you anymore. Something inside you shifts. A calm, a confidence, a quiet certainty that God is about to do something big. And then the breakthroughs begin. One after another. Faster than you expected. Bigger than you imagined. This is what the Bible calls the windows of heaven opening. Not a small window. Not a crack. But the windows of heaven. Blessings you didn't ask for. Opportunities you didn't chase. Restoration you didn't think was possible. Because when God decides that your season has come, nothing can stop it. Not people. Not timing. Not circumstances. Not even your past. And Irfan, listen carefully. You're entering that moment. The moment where God goes from preparing to releasing, from building to revealing, from delay to acceleration. The floodgates are opening. Not someday, but now. Get ready for blessings. That stack on top of blessings. Get ready for opportunities that arrive back to back. Get ready for speed, for momentum, for divine overflow. Your waiting season is turning into a suddenly season. And what God is about to release in your life will not only catch you by surprise, it will make you say, "This could only be God." The shift didn't happen with thunder. It began quietly, almost silently. One morning, you woke up, and something felt different. You couldn't explain it, but the weight you carried for years felt lighter. The fear that held your chest for so long loosened. The confusion that used to swirl around your mind began to clear. It was as if God whispered, "Now, watch what I can do." Opportunities that were stuck suddenly started moving. People who ignored you began reaching out. And the situations you thought were dead started showing signs of life again. It didn't make sense in the natural. How could something frozen for years suddenly melt overnight? But that's what happens when God accelerates your timeline. You saw answers coming faster. You saw help appearing out of nowhere. You saw blessings that had no logical pathway. Yet they found you anyway. And slowly you realized, this was not your effort, not your strategy, not your ability. This was grace moving at a speed your mind could barely keep up with. God wasn't just giving you a breakthrough. He was redeeming time, restoring what you lost, healing what broke you, and pushing you into a season where things happen back to back to back. Because His hand is now upon you. This was the beginning of divine acceleration. Then came the part that shocked you the most. Blessings started coming that you never even prayed for. You see, sometimes God gives you what you ask for. And sometimes He gives you what you couldn't even imagine. There were people stepping into your life. Not to drain you, but to lift you. There were opportunities that didn't match your resume, but matched your destiny. Doors opened that weren't even on your list. Paths appeared that weren't even in your plans. And solutions arrived for problems you hadn't even spoken about. It was as if heaven said, "You've waited long enough. Now let me show you what restoration really looks like." The things you thought were losses turned out to be divine protection. The people who left created space for God's chosen ones to step in. The delays you cried over were actually preparations for blessings so big that earlier, you wouldn't have been ready for them. This was the season where God wasn't giving you the minimum. He was giving you the overflow. You felt it in conversations. You saw it in opportunities. You recognized it in unexpected encounters. The blessings you were receiving now weren't just random events. They were strategic, purposeful, heaven-sent. Because sudden breakthrough isn't just about speed. It's about abundance. It's about God saying, "You served me in the drought. Now let me show you the rain." And finally, you reached the moment where everything changed. You were no longer surviving. You were no longer waiting. You were walking, boldly, confidently, into the destiny God had been shaping all along. There was a new strength in your steps. A new peace in your spirit. A new clarity in your vision. The storms that once terrified you now empowered you. The wounds that once weakened you now carried wisdom. You weren't the same person who started this journey. You were refined, strengthened, prepared. Every setback became a stepping stone. Every heartbreak became a lesson. Every delay became a setup. And now, you were stepping into the horizon God had designed for you. With angels guarding your path. With grace covering every step. And with the certainty that this is your season. This is your breakthrough. This is the moment where everything aligns. Everything accelerates. And everything God promised, begins. Your long season of waiting is ending. Your sudden season of breakthrough is here. And as you walk forward, heaven whispers. Don't fear the speed. I am the one carrying you.